I'm born in Romania in July 1927. My earliest memory of Jewish persecution goes back to the time when I was a child. Short after the Nazis occupied Romania, I was eliminated from the school the lyceum that I wanted to attend, because Jews could not attend anymore, neither public nor private Romanian schools.
And this was when, do you remember?
In 1940.
In 1940?
Yes.
So you were 13?
Exactly.
Okay. And you remember being eliminated?
And I remember being kicked out. The same year, I remember being kicked out from my home. In one day, we were throwing out from our home, and our furniture and every belonging were put on the street. Lucky enough, one of my aunt, my mother's sister, was living in a home that was owned by a Christian. So we were allowed to move there. So in one room, we were living 6 people. This was beginning of the war, and immediately in 1941, we witnessed probably one of the worst pogroms in the history of Romania. At the pogrom in Bucharest, they practically took out Jews from their homes, from their streets, from the businesses, by force, putting them in trucks, taking them to a slaughterhouse where they killed animals and putting them on hooks. The rest of them were taken in a forest and they start shooting. My parents both came from what it's called in the history of the Jews, shtetl. The shtetl is a small village that keeps tradition and continues a Jewish life. So they were a very rich cultural life with a lot of tradition, synagogues, beautiful synagogues. The Jewish people were very active in not only in business, but in science, in art, in theater, in movies, in music, composers, scientists. The synagogue, one of the most beautiful synagogues, was destroyed. They threw the Torahs on the floor. So these are vivid memories that stays with me. And that's when I was 13 years old. My father was sent to a labor camp in Hagien, where he worked for 4 years. I haven't seen him during the war at all. And tragically, he came back after the war alive. And as he went going to our home, a bombardment happened. He went to hide in a basement on a hospital, thinking that they're not going to bomb the hospital. They threw 2 bombs. And he remained paralyzed, and after 2 years he died. So at least we had him for a few years with us. I was sent to a labor camp when I was 15 years old. And I have here a document that I keep as a memorabilia. It's my identification card to the labor camp. Can you read what's written here? Evreul, which means the Jew. We were not identified as Mr. or Mrs., but as the Jew, Leonid Saharovici. There were many jobs that we used to have in the camp. In summer, we used to work in a vegetable garden from morning until night. But the most dangerous jobs was dismantling unexploded bombs. You know, they were bombs that were thrown out with a timer. So after a bomb was hitting the ground and did not explode, people will know that it's an unexploded bomb. The task was to go and to dismantle the timer so the bomb will not explode. It was quite a dangerous job, and it was reserved for Jewish young people. After a bombardment, we were called to clean the debris. While cleaning the debris, you could find dead people under and that we had to take out. And probably one of the very, very dramatic, tragic work was during the winter. In Romania has heavy winters. We were supposed to clean the snow from the street. And I remember a lady called us to come to give us tea to warm up. And she gave us glasses of teas with a little bit of bread. And we were very happy. Her husband came back and started screaming to her, "What do you do such things? These are dirty Jews. They have to die. Let them freeze." So she pushed him into the house and said, "You finished drinking and leave." But her heart was good. In a forest, you have good trees and bad trees. You have to go to see the good trees and the bad trees. Evidently, the good trees were in minority during the war. If we would have had only good trees, we probably wouldn't have had 6 million Jews to be killed. More and more have been saved. But meantime, we have to recognize that there were good people too. This was a good woman. She was a mother of children. She saw children like her children on the street, winter, freezing. So she felt she had to do something for these kids. My oldest uncle was killed in one of the most horrible way. The Romanian came into Tighina. They took him out from the home in front of his wife, tied his hand and his leg to a horse and a carriage, and started beating the horses and ran with him until they brought him back, bone, skin, flesh, and blood. And everybody was looking to this, and nobody was protesting. And there were many, many good men, but not enough to say that they could have shown more understanding for the tragedy. We had the feeling that we have to be strong and determined and do whatever they were asking us to work in dangerous places to survive. And we survived. And thank God that we survived and we could rebuild our lives and goes on. We suffered a lot of persecution. We suffered a lot of humiliation, moral degradation. But finally, it came for me August the 23rd when I was liberated by the Russian. I could not believe. We were at work in the camp, and first came a tank and could not come to the camp because of the road. So a Russian on a horse came and said in Yiddish, "Jews, you are free." And of course, immediately we went to the tank and they started taking out chocolate and giving to people. And people were eating. We were happy, we were pleased, we went home. I want people to know that this tragedy could happen again. And we see in our days forms of genocide. The Holocaust is a form of genocide against the Jewish people. I want people to know that this tragedy could happen again. We were killed because we did not have blue eyes, blonde hair. We did not look like the pure Germans. Innocent people who were killed day by day, and we discover in every day another mass grave with people that were exterminated.
How do we stop it?
How do we stop it? Remembering and not forgetting, keeping alive the memory of the Holocaust, telling the story to the people. You know, when Elie Wiesel said that the Holocaust can instill caution and fortify restraint and prevent against other similar situation, he was referring not just to the Holocaust, but what can happen to the rest of the world in our days. That's why when I came to America, I said I have to dedicate all my efforts to tell the story, to make those who suffer to tell their story. From 20 years, I've seen great teachers, people from the entire country who comes to work for to prepare education for Holocaust. We have many, many positive things. And that's because people are aware that only by hard work we'll keep alive the memory of the Holocaust. We have done in Tennessee great things, and I'm very proud of every achievement.